Good morning, good people. Good morning. Today is Friday, everyone. Friday. And here we are in southwestern Nevada, or I should say southern Nevada. Here we are. And yeah, it's Friday. Here we are in southern Nevada. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. My name is Edward Bevilacqua, and this is Department of Career Services, where our goal is to help our students and other interested people on their journey through this life. That's it. Very plain and simple. That's why we're here. Also to share a cup of coffee. Share a cup of coffee, prepare for the day. And this is the first Friday of the month. This is day 5 in week 1 of our 4-week neuroscience-oriented approach to success. Tomorrow we will be doing G School, but today it's that. And in this 4-week course, we focus on 4 legs to a table. Think of a table with 4 legs. During the week, we focus on 3 of the legs, and the weekend we focus on the 4th leg. First leg of the table is physical, fitness and health. You have to be healthy. You have to be able to have a body that can transport your mind, move your mind from place to place, be able to work extended periods of time, be able to do stuff. In order to do stuff, you have to take care of your body. You have to control your body, discipline your body to do that which it should be doing. And that would be things that matter. Do things that matter, service to others. You need a body in good shape to do that. Second leg of the table is mental. Have the discipline to always be learning. A, B, C. A, always be, B, C, learning. Always be learning. Things are happening now faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. We need to be able to keep up with them. You need to spend time every day learning. Learning what? Learning how to develop your skills to do things that matter in service to others and have money to do it, because you can't really do much if you're the widow who has the 2 mites, the 2 tiny little fractional coins. You can't really do much other than demonstrate your total commitment. But you can't do much. If you're a wealthy person and you do things that matter in service to others, you can do a lot. So we are all in between the widow who has 2 mites and the wealthy people. Third leg, emotions. Be able to discipline your emotions. Don't let other people get you upset. And for God's sake, don't have your default reaction, anger. That's the worst possible thing. As we say here, if you can't control your emotions, don't worry. Somebody else will, and they'll probably take you out of the game. It's especially bad if you get upset because it's in your imagination, or it's a misunderstanding or an honest mistake. And then when you don't have the ability to apologize, oops, I'm sorry, I overreacted. Then that's not good. Okay, so we're here during the week to focus on physical, mental, and emotional. Having the discipline to control behavior. Control behavior. Don't let your behavior control you. All right. Okay, so our theme of today, our themo memo. The new year has begun. Oops, that's not it. What? I got the wrong one up. Hey, what's going on here? There we go. Our themo memo. Don't set goals, achieve them. Don't be a goal setter, be a goal achiever. So Darren Hardy breaks it down pretty well. We've got the link to his little 5-minute, 6-minute monologue down below, talking about don't be a goals. Don't have 10 goals, have one goal and achieve that goal. Then you can go to the next goal. Your goals are serial killers. Yeah. Point is you need one goal, achieve that goal. Then you can move on to the next goal. One goal, achieve the goal. When can you have two goals? Well, let's say you're baking. Your first goal is to do the baking, right? But while it's baking, rather than just sit there watching it bake, rather than just cleaning up, or when you finish cleaning up what you did, now what? Well, you can have a second goal at that point. Or you could say, my first goal is to make the cake. My second goal is to clean up my work area. My third goal is to do whatever, prepare the frosting, whatever. My fourth goal is, and you can be doing multiple things if you do it that way. But that would be like saying, well, my goal is to bake the cake as I'm cleaning up after myself and making the frosting. Doesn't really work. So Darren Hardy talks about serial goals. All righty, what's our advice from an 80-year-old? What is our advice from an 80-year-old? Our advice from an 80-year-old is, okay, who stole the advice from an 80-year-old? Oh, there it is. Look people in the eye. Look people, let me do this. Look people in the eye. You don't have to do the Larry David thing, but you can. Just look people in the eye. Yesterday, I had the good fortune of having a chat at Dad's, not Mom's, with a young woman who is a kind of a trainer, bopping around to different 7-Eleven stores. We were talking about hiring. And I said, what's the most important thing to you when you're interviewing people? And interestingly, she said, if they won't look me in the eye. I said, well, do you ever say anything if they don't? She says, yeah, I'll say, what's up? Why do you keep, why are you doing that? And I think knowingly or unknowingly, that's the thing she does that works for her. But it doesn't work for the reason she thinks it works. It works because of the impact it has on the other person. And you can kind of see, based upon how they respond, you get a feel for that person. And at the end of the day, as she said, what she's trying to do is figure out, does this person fit our culture? Can we trust them? If we can trust them, but they don't fit our culture, we're not going to hire them because they're not going to fit in with the other people. If they do fit our culture, but we can't trust them, we're not going to hire them because we're afraid they're going to steal everything in the store or let their friends steal stuff in the store. So her thing was, do they fit in and can we trust them? That's what she's trying to figure out. And so one path to that would be to be focused on people. Will they look you in the eye? So that's advice from an 80-year-old. Always look people in the eye. Next. Next, okay, Seth Godin. Let's talk about Seth Godin. Bottlenecks. Bottleneck. What's a bottleneck? Well, that's the neck of a bottle. What is that? That's the part that goes up to between the widest part and the top. And it gets constricted. An essential feature of every bottle is the neck. No neck, no bottle. Right, then it's a jar. Then it would be a jar. There are bottlenecks in every process, every project, and every method. Some people call them choke points. Something is limited, right? You've got this, and then it goes to that, and then it opens. We can pretend that's not the case and avoid the discussion, or we can see it as an opportunity, or some people might say opportunity. Successful organizations are good at embracing and working with their bottlenecks. Right, that's a good one. Every process, project, method has a bottleneck. Now, you might want to create a Venturi flow. No, we'll forget about that bottleneck. So we can, if it's true that every process, project, method has a bottleneck, we can pretend it's not the case. That's just how it is, man. That's just when we get to here, it slows down. What happened? Or we can see it as an opportunity. Okay, so what can we do right here to increase the flow of whatever? What can we do? Let's figure that out. Because by definition, if a bottleneck is the point where everything slows down and pressure is created, if we remove the bottleneck, then it will speed up and there will be less pressure. Of course, we know like with garden hoses, when you put your thumb over the end, it isn't easy to stop the flow of the water. The first thing the water is going to do is it's going to shoot out further because there's more pressure pushing it, trying to get that volume of water that's coming into the hose the same as that's going out of the hose. All right, so that's it for our physics lessons for today. Let's go back and talk about our TED Talk for today. Viktor Frankl, Pursuit of Happiness. One of my other favorite ones. So yeah, there's some good ones this week. Yesterday was good. Yuval Harari. Today, Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor, a psychologist. Maybe he was a psychiatrist, but I think he was a psychiatrist. Anyway, he's recognized as the third Viennese school. That's the claim. Freud, Jung, Frankl. And they're in descending order. Freud came first. He gets most of it on psychoanalysis. Then Jung comes next. And he's a big name. Frankl, not so much a big name for the masses. And that's curious because his system called logotherapy is really for the everyday person. It's not highfalutin. It's not everything has a different, has this other sexual meaning or whatever, or there's demons and gods. Pretty practical. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's like with Christianity. The more mysterious, the more you have to dive down deep and you see patterns. And today it was the Bible study. It was they're saying to John, who are you? Are you the prophet? Are you this? Are you that? Nope. And he says, I'm the one coming after me. I'm not fit to take off his sandal. So the person giving the talk, Jeff Cavins, goes into this tradition of taking off the sandal of the woman, married woman whose husband dies, the brothers to take the wife. But if he doesn't want to take the wife, then they go out and there's a certain ceremony where she then takes off his sandal and spits in his face. And there's this whole big thing. So Jeff Cavins says, well, see, that's what John the Baptist was talking about. He's saying, I'm not fit to take off his sandal because I'm not the bride, and this whole thing, as opposed to a sandal is a sandal, meaning servants take off the sandals. The common meaning would be if you are somebody wealthy, you have a servant who takes off your sandals and washes your feet. And the typical person would think John the Baptist is saying, I'm not even good enough to be his servant. I can't even take off his sandal. Well, it gets more exciting if we can read into it things and say, yeah, so when John was saying this, he was really talking about that because he knew that Jesus was the bride, or we are the bride, he's the groom. He's the intended groom. The husband has died, it's his brother. He's now going to take her as the wife, the sister-in-law as his wife. He's now going to take her. So all of this John figured out as he's having a conversation with some Pharisees who were saying, who are you? We need to know who you are, rather than basically saying, the person coming after me is so great, I'm not even worthy enough to be like their servant. Right. Well, it's more enticing to go that deep way as opposed to accepting that perhaps Jesus was talking plain meaning to the people he was talking to. He wasn't talking in this level that they thought they understood, but they really weren't getting it at all. But there's this deeper thing. Maybe it was this idea, the kingdom of heaven is so simple to understand. We don't need to have this complex organization, hierarchy, reading into things. We don't need to do all that. We just need to do three things: love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, love one another as I've loved you, and make disciples of all nations. Okay, something simple to learn. Anyway, Viktor Frankl. We've got 2 minutes to talk about Viktor Frankl, Holocaust. So he had a great career, had the opportunity to escape Germany, but he'd have to leave his wife and parents, couldn't do it. So he went too, and he survived. And he wrote a book. Well, his logotherapy incorporated what he learned while in the camps. And that book is called Man's Search for Meaning. And that is what his logotherapy is all about, is our search for meaning. What is the meaning we have in life? What is the meaning? And in the minute and a half we have left, I'm only going to talk maybe about two things, but certainly one, and that is we don't ask, what is the meaning of life? We've got it backwards. Larry David Flip. We've got it backwards. We don't ask, what is the meaning of life? Life asks us. And they ask, what is the meaning of your life? And we've got to figure that out. And so Viktor Frankl goes on to talk about some of those things. Basically, though, and this was a big thing that occurred when he was in the camps, well, maybe it just got solidified, was that there's one thing people can't take away from us. There's always at least one thing that cannot be taken away, and that is how we choose to respond to things around us. Controlling our emotions would be an example of that. So in other words, he could have said to the Nazis, you can take everything from me, including my life, except for one thing: how I choose to respond to you. And unfortunately, too many people, in my experience, virtually 100% of the people who go to prison, I can think of one person this does not apply to. They did something, they lost control of their emotions. They did something they knew they shouldn't do, or they didn't do something they should have done. But again, Viktor Frankl says they can take everything from you, including your life, all of your possessions, your reputation, your good name, your whatever, your friends, your family, your associations. They can take everything from you except for one thing, at least one thing, which is the ability to choose how you respond. And overall, now going back to our two questions, and we'll tie this in. So what are the two questions? Who am I? Why do I behave the way I do? If we understand that, we also continue to have the ability to choose how we want to respond to the situation we are in. And last Friday, and it was a long time ago, no, last Sunday, it was a long time ago, David Foster Wallace talking about our default setting. Be able to step out of it, recognize it. And if we choose to do that, that's great. But just to recognize that is what it is. What is water? Okay, with that, we're going to say and cut. Tomorrow is G School, day 6 in our week 1, day 6, week 1, in our neuroscience oriented approach to success. We're going to say and